Welcome to the Veteran Spouse Network podcast, brought to you in collaboration with Coming Home Well. I'm your host, Hannah O'Brien, both a veteran spouse and the program manager for the Veteran Spouse Network. On each episode of our show, I will host different guests to learn more about the stories, unmet needs, and resources available to our military and veteran families. We're the show that's making space for your stories, so that here you know you're never alone. Welcome back to the Veteran Spouse Network podcast. Life doesn't always change slowly. Sometimes it changes in an instant, through an accident, a diagnosis, or a moment that reshapes everything we thought our future would look like. For military and veteran families, those moments can bring deep loss, unexpected roles, and a kind of caregiving that few people truly understand. In today's episode, we're here for the spouses, caregivers, and families who are learning how to love in new ways, often without a roadmap. It's a conversation about commitment, resilience, and the kind of hope that doesn't ignore hardship, but grows alongside it. So I'm incredibly grateful to be joined today by Pavel, a veteran spouse, caregiver, author, director, and advocate whose life and marriage were forever changed by a traumatic accident that injured both himself and his wife, Kat. In today's conversation, we're honored to hear Pavel reflect on his journey with Kat, the realities caregivers face, and what it means to find and choose love that adapts when life changes everything. So, Pavel, I'd love to turn it over to you to tell us a little bit more about yourself and your marriage.
Well, hi, thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it. Yeah, to make a long story short, I was the number one fitness photographer in America at the time, 10 years ago, and Kat was a captain in the Air Force, soon to be a major in the Air Force. And we met at a rooftop in Hollywood Hills at a fitness party. So it was all glam and it was just perfect. And we after 2 weeks, Kat asked me if I wanted to go to Belize to see where she's from, and I accepted, not knowing where Belize was. Um, it was it was one of those almost like Harlequin books. It was just a dream. Everything was glossy and fairy tale-y, and we got married very soon thereafter and had a wonderful year of marriage. And 1 year into our marriage, a tragic accident happened. We were going to a Christmas party down in Laguna Beach to our friends. We were in my Range Rover, a pretty big, sturdy car. I think everyone knows. We drove up on the 405, which is an infamous highway here in Los Angeles with 6 lanes of traffic. Um, we still to this day don't know exactly what happened, but what most likely happened is that our right front tire blew. In an instant, the car started swerving. We hit one of those big road signs where it says Laguna Beach, 40 for 2 miles. The car started rolling. We rolled 4 times and landed on Cat's side. So in just a millisecond, our beautiful, happy life went from what we always wanted, that search for safety and family that everyone wants, to total disaster. We both broke our necks instantly. So I remember when I broke my neck, I hit my head in the windshield, and Kat probably broke her when the car landed on her side. Um, so that was terrifying. What immediately kicked in was Kat's survival instinct and Air Force training. I was disoriented. I I um I didn't know what to do, but Kat immediately told me, "Go get help. You have to go get help." So I sort of rolled outside the window. The car was on a cliff, but I rolled outside the window, still disoriented. Kat, super cool, said, "Go get help. Go get help." And mind you, she's saying this thinking she has broken her arms because she can't move, but she's paralyzed neck down, still keeping her cool. So kudos to military training in that sense.
Yeah.
Really, really, her mission was at that point to have me go get help, and I did go get help, and help did come. So from that point on, our lives changed, and we had to find a new normal, as we would call it. So
Yes, yeah, and I'm so glad to hear you're both there. And yeah, I can't imagine. I can't imagine. So, and I hope no one else listening can either.
yeah,
Um,
right.
yeah, and it's, I think what's especially unique about your story too. If we're thinking about our military community, right? A lot of our military and veteran caregivers become caregivers because something that happened to their spouse while they were surfing, right? They weren't
Right.
there. They certainly weren't a part of um the accident or injury or, anything like that. And that's very different for y'all. So so let's kind of fast forward to and I don't
Yeah.
know really what that experience was like for you, coming days, coming weeks, coming months, perhaps. But how did you really make sense knowing that you were both injured, but in different ways, of what that was going to mean for your future?
So yeah, it was, I mean, I can only describe it as chaos. It
Yeah.
was just pure chaos. Um, we're both like A-type personalities. So going from being highly organized with like decorated careers, both of us.
Yeah.
So for us to experience chaos, it really had to be chaos. Um, so that's how I can describe it. In the hospital, when when we realized how our future would look like, we were still in the hospital, and in the hospital, so my dad told me, like, in the hospital everything is okay because you have
Mhm.
help 24/7, right? People take care of you. It's all organized and neat. It was when we got home, like that day when the appointed caregiver agency said, like, okay, your insurance ran out, now we're going to leave you, bye bye. That's when the reality hit, because neither of our families had the opportunity or actually wanted to help, to be quite honest. So we were there alone. Like, Kat was laying there in bed, paralyzed, neck down. I had a big halo on, like a metal structure, because my neck was healing. And it was Orwellian. Like, it was, yeah, it was, it's hard to describe. It's very hard to describe the amount of chaos that goes on, inner and outer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that being, yeah,
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, that being said, so coming back to the military experience, what did save us once we got home was the military network.
Mm.
The people that did stand up for us was Cat's active duty comrades. So
Yeah.
the Air Force motto, wingman, the wingman motto, I saw that in real life, and it's a real thing. Like, they were there. They came every day. They helped the best they could, and that sort of helped us the first hump, so to speak. That did fade. Time with time, everything fades, and the wingman model did fade too. And then the the spouse, me, would have to, the veteran spouse actually would have to take the biggest load, and we can come back to that. But in the beginning, yeah, the wingman model was there.
Yeah. And how long did it take, like, you to heal? Like, till you start feeling like you could even really, like, physically step into that role?
Yeah, I don't think I'll never heal, to be honest. I
Mhm.
think doing podcasts like this is a part of my mental healing, so to
Yeah.
speak. It took me 2 years to heal physically, and now I'm stronger than ever out of pure will. And I don't want to speak myself up, but my neurosurgeon told me that he's never seen anyone heal up as fast as I had, and that's only due to me wanting to be strong for Kat. So I wanted to heal up fast so I could be strong for Kat, because it just seemed so unfair to me that all this should happen to her. Honestly, that was it. And then I needed to make it right somehow. But obviously, I can't make it right. But I can be as strong as I can be, so I can be there for her. Um, yeah. And this was a little different. It wasn't, as you said, it wasn't a combat injury. It was an accident. Um, in my experience, there's as many accidents as there are combat injuries. So it's um, certainly something that a lot of people go through.
Yeah, right.
Um, yeah. Money wise, there's less money involved when it's an accident in
Mhm.
combat. Don't know why, but that's just how it is. Until this day, you can imagine Cat being paralyzed neck down. Till this day, we don't have 24/7 coverage, which you would assume that there would be. So about half our hours are covered by the VA, and about half our hours are covered by um, um, Wounded Warrior Project.
Okay.
So yeah, so thank God for that. I forgot the question, but I was
No,
just
no,
rambling
we're
on.
we're we're talking. It's great.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
so I guess, yeah, that thinking through those probably then first couple of years, how were y'all kind of able to, like, connect and support each other emotionally? or did you feel
Oh,
like
yeah,
you were
good
more
question. I
stepping
love
into
it.
that
Yeah.
role? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Kat and I have gone through all the emotions there is, like it to the depth of hell and back. And we told ourselves all the truths there is to be told, all the nasty stuff and all the good stuff. So I don't think you can come any closer to a person than what we are. And I don't want to say that that's not has not been comfortable at all. I don't wish to do that ever again.
Yeah.
That's a journey I don't wish upon anyone, but we've had to do it due to just the pure despair we've been in. That has also formed like an incredible strong bond, obviously,
Mhm.
but it takes a big toll. It
Yeah.
takes a big toll
How
to
could it not?
emotionally, yeah, yeah,
No.
and also coming from so Kat's obviously military trained, and the military training, in a sense, saved us, but it also, in a way, um, it also in a way was the opposite once we got home because her training, she wants everything a certain way, and she can't move, but so it becomes my job or the caregiver's jobs to do it the way she wanted. But so psychologically that's a little interesting because so you have to go against your own impulses all the time. Like if she tells me to do something, I'm just naturally inclined to do it the way I do it, but she wants me to do it the way she wants to do it. And so that means that I have suppressed my own feelings every time I do something, and the caregivers too. And psychologically, that took a long time for me to understand why am I being so agitated, I'm upset, and why
Yeah.
is she agitated and upset. And then once I figured it out, it's like, oh, that's why I'm not
Yeah, like
behaving
that
according to,
everything is changing, like literally
yeah,
everything, period, in life, but also
yeah,
about who you are as a couple and the roles
yeah,
that you can and can't carry.
yeah.
Um, to that, we hear a lot of times, right, caregivers may talk about like a split life. There's like before and after. Do
Mhm.
you see your story that way, or does it feel more fluid?
No, absolutely, 100%. Yeah. So I tell people that if it was just me, I would still want the accident to happen because I became a much better person.
Mm.
Or it's more like I got the opportunity to be all I can be, really. Like I had opportunity to really to see like who am I under stress? Who am I when catastrophe happens? Am I a good person? Do I help other people? Do I run for the hills? Do I stay with my wife 10 years in? Like what do I do? And so I got to prove myself to myself. So I'm eternally grateful in that sense. So yes, it is a before and after for sure.
And you said that for me, you felt that way. So I'm
Yeah,
assuming maybe for
yeah,
her,
I was really amplifying that. If it
yeah,
was just me, if it was just me in the accident, I would still want it to happen. Obviously, that was not the case.
yeah.
With two people in the accident. Yeah, yeah.
So,
So yes, there's
um,
definitely before and after.
definitely before and after.
Yeah.
And then in you recovering, like you said, even emotionally, right? You're still recovering. You will, may always be recovering. Um, obviously, even if we're talking about a caregiver role where the person themselves wasn't injured, they're still affected. But how did you feel like, and burnout is still very real, and you've been like alluding to it in different ways. But how did you feel like you were balancing caring for yourself physically, emotionally, mentally, while balancing, being there for her?
Yes, super hard. Like I mean, almost incredible. I mean, just impossible. Like it wasn't until I really stood up for myself, which I guess was 7 years in, and I told Kat that like I really don't care. Like I'm gonna need like 1.5 hours in the morning and 1.5 hours in the afternoon to do my workouts. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna do those whether you need help or not. Because if I can't be strong for you, then I won't be here. Like it's more like I have to be happy with myself. I have to be content with myself in order to help you.
Yeah.
And yeah, once I learned that, everything kind of gone onto a smoother ride. And I try to teach that to other caregivers. Like you just have to put yourself first. You just have to, because otherwise you'll be a bad caregiver. You'll be a bad spouse. So
Yeah,
if you feel strong, you feel ready, then you can help someone else. But if you're not on the straight and narrow, how are you going to help someone else? So yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
but it
And
took a long time. Yeah,
I know 7 years you said, right? Seven.
yeah, yeah,
I know. And they're
yeah.
good lessons for anybody, anyway, right? You gotta care for yourself.
Yeah, I say it
Um,
took 7 years to perfect it. Like it took 7 years for me to understand, like, this is what I need and this is what I need to do. Up until that point, I tried to compromise, but the compromise has always led to, it wasn't a good situation. So, yeah.
yeah, for one, the other, or both of you, I imagine. No. And you mentioned like talking to other caregivers and trying to share your wisdom and things like that. So how did this experience, or has this ongoing experience, kind of like helped you better understand the caregiver experience and have empathy for other people who are in these roles?
Well, I mean, it's been huge. I even wrote a book about my, let's see if I can say it,
Mhm.
even wrote a book about my experience here. I was so tired of people asking me, and I was more tired of people giving me advice,
Yeah.
people that had nothing to do with it. So I was like, I need to write this down. And so I wrote it down, and it became an Amazon bestseller, which I'm proud of. Um, and I'm pretty honest. I mean, I from the get-go, I told myself I have to be as honest as possible with my own faults too, in order to punch through and really tell people how I feel about it. And so that has helped, and that has helped me connect with other caregivers through networks like yourselves, like Veteran Spouse Network and Wounded Warrior Project and Next Step and all kinds of networks. Um, and we all have the same experience. So we like exactly the same experience. So um, it's funny that way. But it's not a well-known experience, I think. And for me, my admiration for the fellow caregiver, whether it's a military or not, it's just I'm in awe of people working with people and what they sacrifice for other people. Because most of us, we're so consumed with ourselves and what we need that we don't have time for the other person, even in a marriage, I want to say.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but so for other caregivers to give up so much of themselves to help someone else has really been eye-opening for me. So, and as my neurosurgeon said, it's almost like it's doubtful once you start doing good, it's doubtful who it helps most, if it's the
Mhm.
person you're helping or if it's yourself. And I agree, like it's not like a Jesus complex at all, but it's like you really see the advantages of doing good for someone hit yourself, and then it's hard not to stop. I mean, hard not to keep
Yeah.
going. It's like it gets a little indoctrinating. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, no, I totally understand. How do you feel? I mean, it's a true identity shift. Like, there's no way about that, both
Right.
as an individual, a partner, to your wife. So how do you feel like it's the experience and the role that you now are in, has really transformed your identity? You alluded to some of it about becoming a better person, but anything else you want to say, maybe especially too about your identity, like in your relationship?
Yeah, that's a good question. I want to say there's a couple of yeah. So it has really brought forward. So I talked to a friend of mine, Marcus Cowell, who is a US UFC fighter. He lost his son to a drunk driver. So we talked about this, and he said these kind of traumas just makes you, it enhances who you are, and I agree with that. Like I was a good person at the get go, but this just jumbo sized it. Like it just pulled up whatever good things I've had to a jumbo size. Um, so that's good. When it comes to husband wife and in a veteran spouse scenario, it's not always that good, to be honest. Because being a caregiver is being very empathetic and sympathetic. That's not looking at your wife in a sexy way, so to speak. It's looking at your wife in a I feel sorry for you way, and I'm going to help you in every way I can. But it's not like you think people are sexy when they're at their best. Like when I was the photographer, number one photographer, and I was shooting people, the famous people like 50 Cent, Cat looked at me with admiration, and not because, more because I was in my prime, like I was doing what I was skilled and the best at doing. So it was a pleasure watching like a skilled performer doing their art.
Yeah.
And same thing for me when I looked at Kat in the Air Force. She was dressed up in her greens and she was being saluted, and like seeing that evokes a kind of awe feeling. But being a caregiver is 100% different. Like the opposite, which is not good for the husband and wife life. So yeah, that's, and I'm still trying to like get to grips with that. I don't know if I ever will. I don't think the awe will never come back in that sense because the scenario has shifted. So that's problematic. It is
Yeah,
problematic.
something to work
Yeah,
through.
and it's still yeah. Yeah.
And imagine too, like that's one of I think that the emotions that people are most like, oh wow, like I can't see that being the same. Of course, I couldn't. But also, when you're talking about someone being paralyzed neck down, responsibilities, like literal
Yeah.
responsibilities and partnership, become
Yeah.
very, very different. So, how did you all kind of reshape what it means to be a team and be a partner in your relationship?
So in that sense, we've always been good at the logistics. Like I was good at logistics in my profession, and she was great in her profession. So the logistics part of it, like we are running a 7 per person care team that cost $250,000 every year, and so far we've raised 1.3 million through different sources. So that part we got down. It was more the other emotional parts, like why isn't my family here helping out? Why isn't her family here helping out? Um, why do I need to work out in the morning to help her? It was all these like other emotional parts that came into play and are still coming into play, in all honesty. Um, and it's hard to find out that your mom doesn't want to come and help.
Mm.
Like my mom, it took her 6 years to apologize that she's not here. Like, and it's hard to find out her family doesn't really want to be here and help out. And these are hard things to find out about your family because you thought they're your family.
Mhm.
The people that have really come and help out is actually people from the Air Force and other friends. So, and I'm still wrestling with it.
Yeah,
To be honest, it's still hard to. So yeah, it doesn't really belong in your question, but it kind of comes back to it anyway
important.
because that's the main. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just the main thing we wrestle with. It's like yeah. So I've tried to prove to myself that I would be the kind of person that I want others to be for me. So I spent time with Eddie, a friend of mine who's passed away in cancer, but I spent time with him the last year he had, just to sort of prove that I can be that person. And I text certain people every morning that I know need help. Like they don't tell me that they need help, but I know they need support. So I text them every morning. And it takes effort. Like it takes effort to help someone. But yeah. So I think we're both doing that in our different ways. Kat has built 2 houses, one in Honduras and one in Guatemala for people in need. Yeah. Yeah. And she's also given away a ton of money and support and energy to other people with paralysis. So I think we're both, yeah, we're both doing that. We're both looking for people to help us, and instead we help others, I
Yeah.
think.
And that's how you guys
Yeah,
are filling your cup.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, Thinking through, you've kind of talked about some of the like expenses, the logistics, the systems, like that's certainly from the military caregiver side. So much of what we hear about is just like navigating the systems and the
Yeah.
complexities of care, to get what you need as the individual who served, but also as their family member. And again, I'm sure caregivers outside of the military system are also dealing with some of the similar stuff. So, kind of a dual question. What were some of the challenges and barriers you faced kind of navigating those systems together? And then maybe simultaneously, like how do you think systems could be better built to support caregivers?
I sigh before I even talk.
It's loaded, yeah.
We,
It's that, or
yeah.
it's not a easy answer. They would have done it by now, I hope, if there was an easy
So
answer.
we have we have funds coming from the VA from 4 different sources, and you would think that would just be one source.
Right.
Like, right? No. So we have 4 different contact people, 4 different sources with 4 different rule sets and implementations. So
Mm.
we're trying to. So I guess. So I don't want to speak badly about the VA, but I just don't. But there's just this lack of understanding, like of empathy from the people that are admins there. So I've been known to yell at people at the VA, like full on blown out yelling, just to like advocate for Kat. And afterwards, the doctors have come up to me and said, "Good, you're advocating for her. Like, good, keep it up," because people don't have that. And but it's infuriating. It's infuriating that we as taxpayers and pay into our government, and then when we something happens in Kat's case, um, service for a country and being deployed and all that, when we need it back, it's so hard to get it in a way that's empathetic and convenient. It has why do we use fax machines in 2026? Why do I still use a fax machine? I mean, I get upset just talking about it now.
Hmm.
It's like
I
it's
hear it.
not, yeah, it's I don't understand. Like, um, yeah. So there's even me who's very organized and logistical and try can keep my temper down. I'm having a hard time dealing with the VA, which is yeah, it's just sad, honestly. So
It is, yeah, and
uh,
we hear it too often too. But
yeah.
yeah, these kind of inconsistencies in communication and coordination and empathy too often.
Yeah, and you would think that people there should be proud to help veterans, and I think they are. It's just they fall into the maybe the complacency of government, I guess, complacency of paycheck. I hate to say it like that, but it sort of feels like that. So, yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah,
then
I'm sorry.
you're caught between a rock and a hard place because you
Yes,
need the support, need the services, yeah.
yeah,
And they
yeah,
are there if you work for them.
yeah, and it's yeah, I don't have any answers except being incredibly just on it, so to speak. And I'm just lucky that I can be there for Cat and I can be on it. But I feel for the people that don't have anyone like me advocating for them, to be honest. And I feel for the ones that I can't advocate for themselves. I mean, people kill themselves. I mean, that's one reason why people literally take their own life because they don't get the help they need. And I've had tons of those stories. And I mean, I get upset just thinking about it. That's so sad. Yeah. So
Yeah, and I think
that being
people
said,
don't.
go,
I was gonna say, I think
well,
we
I
were talking
love,
about advocacy, and I think a lot of people, probably even caregivers themselves, when they're stepping into the role, but certainly the public, don't even really understand how much of that is the role.
they surely don't. No, they surely don't. Like, and people, I don't say that they don't want to know, but they just assume. I think people just assume that there is help to be had, and that help is sufficient. And when I inform them about the realities, they don't really want to take it in. Like
Mhm.
they do want to believe that America is better than that, and America is still the greatest country on earth, and I love it. But I mean, but there's so much more to be done. Um,
Improvements to be
yeah,
made. Oh.
yeah. So that being said, and that goes for both the caregiver and the person we're helping, right? There's a duality there that's kind of yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, a lot of improvements to be made for sure. And that's why I'm
Yeah.
glad to hear like when you throw out like WWP, like there are other organizations trying to step in where they can to fill some of those gaps, which are great. But then again, it is one more thing, from the caregiver, the injured person. Okay, now we got to navigate, these other orgs and other systems, and it's just
Yeah,
more.
I think well, like one of the advantages, like having this happen, and I'm just speaking from myself, is meeting people like you from the Veteran Spouse Network that work so diligently and from the heart of educating and helping other people. And same with the WWP and Next Step and other organizations. So I've met so many like heroes in my life, like and those have become dear friends. And I would have never met those people if this hadn't happened. So for me personally, again, I've had some. Uh, I just I'm living a big life now. I was living a small life before. I was living a life with money and fame and stuff, but now I'm living a big inner life, and I would rather live this life. So yeah,
What an
there's good
incredible
things that come up.
takeaway. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I think I know, but we haven't talked about it here too, that I think a lot of people too have misconceptions about what it means to be paralyzed from the neck down and what you are not capable of. And I know you're incredibly proud of what Kat is doing now with the Space Force. So I'd love to hear just a little bit about that and then kind of what that experience, you can only speak for you, of like has been like for you to see her be able to still serve and give back and have meaning and purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. So whenever I feel like a little bitch, I look at my wife and then I correct myself, and I'll tell you why. She is incredible. So to this date, so being paralyzed neck down means that you can't do anything. You can only move your neck. And she can sit up. She's lucky. She can sit up straight due to our excellent neurosurgeon. She has a stick in her mouth, which is sort of like a big long pen, and, and she uses her voice. And she has three computers in front of her, and she works for Space Force full time. So she works as an exec for a two-star general for the DoD or DOW. So in the mornings, they have their meetings with NATO, and those are daily meetings. She sets up her general schedule. She has her own agenda, makes very good amount of money doing this, and that's being paralyzed neck down. So when I tell people about this, it also tells us what kind of life is possible to live if you really want to live.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I'm wearing the Space Force shirt today, and just in honor of her and in honor of all military members. Honestly, there is this incredible, which I guess we all fall in love with, right? This incredible um, dedication to the mission. I guess it's what they call it, which is kind of sexy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, yeah. So and I still see that in her, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, being able to be placed neck down and still fulfilling those services for our country, yeah, incredible to see.
It's incredible to hear about.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned your book, but also you've done more than that with y'all's story. You did a documentary, you're trying to get a feature film off the ground. So I'd love to hear a little bit about that and then especially around like what motivated you and to want to tell y'all's story publicly and like what that has done for y'all.
Yeah, the documentary was a tribute. I call it True Heroes, a tribute to the people that came forth and helped us in the beginning, when we stood there, two broken souls with broken necks. And the people that came forth weren't the families. It was the neurosurgeon. It was the lady who had a paralyzed daughter. It was all these other people that saw our pain and wanted to help. So I needed to do a documentary and try to explain or sort of investigate what makes them so good. Why did they want to help? Um, so that's the documentary, and then the feature film is is just a prolongment of the documentary. And we did a 4 minute, 6 minute trailer with Ivana Rojas from Tracker and Thor Knai, who was in Rebel Moon and Pluribus on Apple Plus, actually. So I think when something good happens in life, it deserves to be heightened and shown to the world, because there's so much bad that gets automatic press. So when good happens, it can serve as a role model and example for everyone. And I'm not trying to make us into something that we're not, but I see how what we do affect other people, and I see how other people has affected me. So it's like a spiral of good. Plus the fact that I came to America 30 years ago to be a feature film director. So
Yeah.
it's sort of come
Full
full
circle.
circle for me yeah, full circle. So yeah, I'm not complaining about that. Finally, I have a fantastic story to make a film about. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That you feel passionate about that, yeah,
Yeah.
giving in
Yeah.
a different way than perhaps some other stuff is. Yeah. That's
So
awesome.
yeah, it sometimes foo-foo when I talk to people, but like even like connection and giving is there's nothing else out there. Like there's nothing else that will fulfill you at all. Like, and I've done all the other stuff when I was a fitness photographer and been on all the parties, but just trying to be a good person and helping other people, and the good, or more, to be honest, like the respect you get from doing it
Mhm.
fulfills you more than any alcohol or drug would do. Like literally, it's because it's you being the all you can be. It is you being the best person you can be, and fulfilling your purpose, whether you believe in God or anything. But it doesn't have to have religious overtones or undertones. It's just you being your utmost best. So yeah, and the Veteran Spouse Network, again, organizations like this that highlight these issues and try to help people is doing that. So
Thank
yeah,
you. Yeah, no, I really love hearing you talk about what this experience has done for you. Yeah, kind of feeling like you're your best version of yourself because you do hear and we do hear so many people who, you know, maybe they're really in it, and they're maybe feeling like they're their worst version of themselves. So
right.
I would love for you to talk to that person, and to kind of finish us out. I always like to end with just what do you want people who are maybe really in it right now? What do you want them to hear to take away, from listening today?
Yeah. So just go slow. Just go slow. Just take it minute by minute. If that's all you can do, that's fine. Don't live in the past because the past is the past. And don't live in the future. Like you just what you have right now, try to be grateful for that. Like what do you have right now that you enjoy? And then enjoy that. It will never be the same. You just have to accept it. Like that reality is not coming back. No, not in the future, not in the past. Like all you have is now. So try to find stuff that you enjoy right now, and then you embrace that, even if just for a minute, because that's what would save me. And then maybe your future will be even better in some sense. Maybe Cat's future in some sense is better now than it would have been in some sense. Maybe my future is definitely better um, if you just embrace it. Um, yeah.
Invite it.
Talking of that, I want to give a shout out to a Marine who lives down the street. He comes over, and I don't like gardening, but he loves it. So he comes over and gardens here every day. And that, speaking of military, that's that ethos of that military helping out, whether it's a Marine or an Air Force or Special Forces, which we have here too. Um, we all help each other. So, and the veteran spouses are definitely part of that group. So,
I love that. And I love your sentiment about being in the present and in being grateful for what you can. I had a therapist who said like people who live in the past struggle with depression and people who live in the
right.
future struggle with anxiety. And I certainly
Oh,
remember being told that and being like, wow, that's going to change my life. And it really has, like, right? Like we hear so much about like
yeah.
be in the present, but be in the present.
Yeah. No, that's insightful. That's very insightful. Yeah. 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 No, it's everything. And also appreciate the small things. Like I hug Barbara, like she's what do you call it? The person that helps the school kids cross
Oh
guard.
yeah, yeah,
Barbara. Yeah, she's the 8-year-old black woman, Barbara, who I hug her every morning, right? And we look forward to that. And honestly, it's going to sound foo-foo again, but connection with other people, whether it's Barbara down the street or my wife or you, really is the key to happiness. It really is. Like because when you're down and out and you have people around you, whether it's Barbara give you a smile or a hug, or I can call you Hannah, then that will lift you up. And I think the more people you have around you with good connections, the happier you will be.
absolutely. When you're just kind of stuck in your own head all the time, doesn't matter what you're doing or going through. It's not the place to be.
No, no.
Oh my gosh. Well, Pavel, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful y'all are here. I'm so grateful that you're, telling your story in all these different incredible ways because I think you're absolutely right to be able to share that and one just educate people about some of these experiences who have no idea what's going
Yeah,
on and then all those different caregivers out and people out in the world who can feel seen by your story.
yeah. No,
Um,
thank you, and thank you. Like organization like yours, um, really highlight the human spirit. I want to say, like
appreciate that.
I, this is what movies are made of, right? This is what
Mhm.
people do for other people, and that's the true story on Netflix, right? Watch the true story. It's what we do. It's what happens here, and there's so many military stories because they invoke so much drama and human suffering and human effort and humans doing impossible things. like Kat is doing now. Like, and I'm sure you have thousands of these stories, right? And they deserve to be highlighted because they inspire us and it tells us what it is to be human, like the best human. So
Yeah. The best versions of ourselves.
Yeah, right. There we go. That's a good ending.
It is. Well, thank you so much. I'm so grateful. I'm happy to have you here and get to share your story. And all of you guys listening, thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks again for joining us on the Veteran Spouse Network podcast, brought to you in collaboration with Coming Home Well. We thank you for listening today and hope today's session left you feeling a little more connected or gave you some insight into the experiences of our military and veteran families. Don't forget to check us out at veteranspousenetwork.org to learn more about how our military and veteran families can receive the support they deserve.